Welcome back to the Hunt Experience. I'm Cody Gann.
And I'm Chris Brewer. This show, as always, is brought to you by Camel Family Outdoors and Whitetail Property Management.
Hey, we got an update.
Updates.
And the update is we actually have a photograph with a dead animal in it.
Yeah. Hey,
So tell me, I got to know, man. You and the boy.
Yeah, so we went up. See, what did we talk about last time? My truck was in the shop.
Yep.
We did not get my truck back, so we had to take his truck. So you and I, when we got back, I parked in the driveway, and I'm going to unpack everything, guy.
Yeah.
I pull in with my hands
just the
full.
opposite.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. I get everything back where it went, even though I'm leaving 3 days later. But he, kind of meets me at the door. Like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. Oh man, I'm living on 12 hours of sleep, brother. What do you got? He's like, I'm going to be an Army Ranger. So, kind of took me by surprise a little bit. So, he ended up driving up there, driving his truck. So I got to talk the whole time. Wasn't trying to really talk him out of it, but I just want to know, I'm a big picture guy. What's the plan? What's the end game? What are we doing?
Right,
are you going for a career? You doing this, doing that? So
Yeah.
we had some good talks, man, the whole time up there. And like we said before, both of our boys are kind of doing their own thing now, and we spent so much time with them early, and this, a little bit of separation anxiety happened. So
Sure.
we hung out and talked and watched all kind of stuff and hunted. But anyway, we get there, and gosh, it was probably 10:30, 11 o'clock before we got there because I was waiting on my truck.
Oh, yeah. I knew it was late because I texted you and be like, y'all there yet?
Yeah.
You're on your way. And you're like, dude, we're not even halfway yet.
And he's a speed limit guy, so we were driving the speed limit the whole way. So
That's why you drove the whole time we went.
I'm ready to get there. But yeah, we got there, meet the farmer. It's a little storage building, but
Sure.
I wasn't expecting anything too nice for the price. I just wanted to get on there, but there was 2 farms there. So we get there, we have some like Wendy's burgers or something, whatever we could find in a town. Kirksville was the name of this town, the closest one. So
Okay.
we're kind of right there. I mean, by kind of like if you look at where Eagleville is, and then you go up where our lease was at, we're kind of just to the east of that. We're kind of dead in line, but to the east of it. So I was like right there. Matter of fact, this guy has a house in Iowa, and he basically does kind of what we've done a few times. Really want to get going. He manages these hunting properties.
Nice.
So he goes in and plants clover, builds. The game up there, it's you getting a big elevated blind. So he builds those, places them, plants clover, sprays, does TSI on all these properties, and that's what he does all day long. And then he has farms of his own, like he plants some beans and corn and all that stuff.
Nice. Sounds like a dream job.
Right? That's what I was telling him. I was
epic.
like, dude, I was like,
how do I break into this?
Yeah, how do I get into this? Like, well, the farm you're hunting tomorrow is going to be up for sale in a couple of years. I'm like, I don't know, that 30,000 an acre or what? How's that work?
Yeah.
So
it'd be high.
No, for sure. Oof. So I basically hand him my phone. He flips open Onyx and is like, park here. This is going to be your access in, and so we get 2 or 3 hours of sleep that night. Not much. We hunt the first farm, and how it lays out, you kind of park, open up the gate, and you just walk, straight in, and then there's like a clover field that kind of angles to the west, a ridge up there, and then everything else falls off. So we decided we were going to set just on top, and I went ahead and just put out decoys. We tucked underneath the cedar tree, which happened to be a layer, I guess would be the right word for ticks. Yeah, no joke, dude. We got covered up in ticks.
Really?
Like, holy crap.
Well, it was so cold,
Yeah,
when we were up there before,
Yeah.
and the ticks were just hammering y'all, huh?
Oh, man. They probably pulled 50 off of me. I told the boys,
gosh.
if I don't get tick fever,
Lyme
disease from this right here, I ain't never getting it, I don't think. 'Cause, I was there. So, anyway.
That's crazy.
I set out some decoys, and we stood there and listened. And we had a bird behind us, and bird to our left, kind of like when you and I were. We kind of had birds all around, so we were kind of in the central. We were in the middle of it. Didn't know the property.
Sure. Just
So
got
like,
there. Yeah.
I'm not gonna get too aggressive because I don't know how the land lays. Where if I'm going up, down, it was dark.
Right.
So we kind of just stayed put in the middle. Like, let's just see, if one comes out there. And we had hens come right out there, come right around us, come by us, but no toms were following. And then we had, oh gosh, it was probably 8:30, 9 o'clock. There was a bird gobbling on that ridge. Just, you could tell he was kind of like that one.
Fired up.
It's like, this guy's going to be good. So we went and see if we could get him struck up. And we didn't. And we learned that whole side of the property. And then we went back to our original spot and was like, well, the guy he's got, I don't know, 300 cameras running up there, and he'd sent me several pictures of birds coming to that area. Yeah,
sent me those, yeah.
Yeah, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And so let's just go sit back up there and, we'll just, kind of see what happens from there. See what, one strikes up or one walks in or two walk in. But, we heard like 11 birds that first morning. So
oh, wow.
Chances are they're probably going to be here. There was tracks everywhere, drop-ins everywhere. And
so you're in the right spot.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were on our way back. We didn't hunt. We didn't go down to the bottom side yet, so we still don't know that part of the property. But found a half of an 8-point on our way back.
Oh, that's
shed.
Nice.
Yeah, found a shed.
Shed's always nice to find.
So we sat there, and we probably sat for about an hour, I guess, and I was like, I'm gonna get up and stretch my legs, and I got up, just kind of stood there and turned towards that bottom, hit the crow call. 2 birds fire off. I was like, all right, let's go. So we headed down there, got the camera, got everything we need. I just took one Jake decoy. He's carrying that. I'm carrying the camera, and so we go and go and go. We're kind of following these birds, right? And I hate following turkeys.
Chasing them, kind of.
I got to get around and cut in front of them, and so we tried to make that move, and we actually did. We got around to the side of them, and so they were gobbling. Basically, would be to our left, and I belly crawl out in this little thick area. And there's an opening where they're fixing to plant beans, it looked like, and pop the Jake decoy out, crawled back in, tucked underneath another cedar tree. And I mean, they're just hammering. Like, man, get ready, these things are coming. And
what time in the morning was this?
This is probably actually closer to 11.
Oh, wow.
By
so
this time, yeah.
Midday almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
So gotcha. I told him, like, you get one to gobble right now, it's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of same thing like you and I ran into. It's like there's got to be a problem. So I'm pulling up Onyx, and there's a blue line there, And it's like,
no.
Must be bigger than we think.
Right.
So we get up, go back up the hill, go across the creek, make a big circle all the way around to try to get on the same side of the creek as them, and hit the crow call. Nothing. We go a little bit further, and I know they had to have been like right here on the edge of this creek. So it sounded like they were 40 yards from us.
Right.
And just happened to see there's a little rise, and it's just like it's not a green field. It's just a field with some shrubs in it. And there's a little draw in the middle. Throw up the binoculars because I see something out there. And it's like there's 2 toms right there. Get behind a tree, and I putt a couple times. I mean, boom, heads pop up. They get in that draw, and they're coming to us. So we get behind a tree, thinking they're coming right here to our left. Well, they end up going on the creek bank, come back around behind us, beep, 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 and bust us and take off. So like, all right, man. I mean, that's pretty much the
day
hunt.
one.
Yeah, day one. That's it. So we go into town, get some Mexican food, spend a couple $100 at Walmart to keep him fed.
Worse than me?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. By far. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We bought some groceries. And, but
that's funny.
So yeah, we did that, and then went back, and the guy he had that second farm. I was like, well, he said I'll be there about 9 o'clock tonight to check on you guys. And like, okay, I guess if you want to come check on us, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
And so he comes in. Well, how'd it go? So I told him. He's like, really? Most of the birds usually are there. He didn't think the birds should have been where they were down that bottom. So we got on them another time before that too. I kind of skipped over that actually, but there was a fence row and a road, super thick. I mean, deer bedding all in there. Well, I'm standing up and calling. The bird, one of them is like probably 12 yards from us, but he will not come through this. You know that stuff we saw up there on public ground, that grass that they had?
Oh, yeah.
We never did identify what it was. It was all that stuff along with some little saplings. So, I could see the white head, but he wouldn't come through. And Luke was set up behind me. And I was just trying to keep a lookout. And then I was going to actually walk away from him and call him. So we got on one there. And then we got on those other 2.
So it's like switch or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Something, whatever it is up there.
It was like 6 feet tall, and he was just hung up, but he was gobbling so close to us. It was super cool.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. For sure.
Okay, now we're back at camp, and he's like, "What do you want to try that other farming one?" I was like, "Dude, we were covered up in turkeys. Like, I think it's just a matter of time." So, day 2, we go back to the same farm, and all the birds that were gobbling that ridge in front of us, nothing. Kind of like what you and I ran into. Like, what the heck? There's nothing's gobbling. The bird that was right behind us, nothing. There was nothing going on.
Really?
And then all of a sudden I hear a gobble. Sounds pretty far away. It's down kind of where we were the day before, down in the bottom of that hill. But it sounds like it's on this side of the creek. So I was like, all right, dude, we got to go. So I pull a single hen decoy, and we take off, basically jogging down there. And it's a steep drop off. So we're going down, and then they hit again. It's like we can't get in the bottom because they're on this ridge. They'll see us. So we back up on our ridge. So it's basically we're on a ridge, they're on a ridge, and there's a valley in between us type thing. But I bet we closed in probably about 50 yards from them. And I popped the decoy out, and the only place I could really put it out was probably 15 yards from kind of where we were set up at. So
Gonna have them close.
yeah, it's going to be a close deal.
Yeah.
But there's a hill, so they got. I mean, when they pop their heads up, they ain't gonna be able to see us. It's going to be
The decoy.
decoy, and that's it. So they're gobbling. So we get all set up and everything, and the sun's coming up pretty good. And you and I had talked about that. Cook was on here talking about the gobble call, and how it makes them angry and all that stuff. So I've never been the gobble guy, but so I got the old hat down and I'm flying. I was 3 different hens flying down and cackling.
Right.
I mean, they were just, before I could even get the cackle out, they were just hammering. And we did that for a little while, and I did a little bit of putting and stuff, and they would just gobble every single thing, which we were pretty close to them. So I mean, he just one little putt, and they were just both of them just simultaneously go off. And this is awesome when you get a bird that close. So we're just both sitting there just kind of like
rattling the woods.
Awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so we just sat there and called for a minute, and then I was like, I'm gonna pull this little gobbler out.
Yeah.
And I did just a real short Jake. Blah,
Yeah.
Real short.
Blah.
I did that like 3 times. And every time when they would gobble, I would cut them off with a Jake gobble. And the third time I did, it's like they flew down. I was like, Dad, they're flying down. I was like, oh yeah, they're mad. I mean,
take them off.
They were on a string.
So it worked.
It worked.
Awesome.
They were on a string, and we got to see them come down the whole valley. So I said, hey, I'm going to call the shot. You take the one on the right. I'm going to take the one on the left. Let's try to double.
Right.
So his bird's coming. They're both at the same, we see him coming the whole way. And then mine on the left-hand side decides to stop right next to the property line on the barbed wire fence and eat. It's just pecking the ground. And his bird has disappeared. I mean, it's only like 15 yards away, but it's below the hill.
Right.
And he's spitting and drumming. And then mine comes up the hill, and then they disappear. I'm talking like, seemed like an eternity, but it's probably like 3 minutes. We can't see them. They're not making any noises, not doing nothing. So I think, man, did they cut off into the woods on either side of us, or what happened? All of a sudden, a crow goes off over my shoulder, and that bird, hammers.
He's right there on top of
right
it.
below the hill.
Yeah.
And then we're both set up, kind of ready to go. And my bird is still pecking the ground. His bird's head, he's in like half strut, and we can see his head clearly. But my bird's like head gone. Like, give me just a second. And thought we had plenty of time. A deer takes off 10 yards to the right of us. His bird putts. I said, take him. And so his bird takes off. I still can't see my bird, so I stand up, boom, shoot mine. He shoots at his, mine folds up. And,
his gets away.
His got away, which I told him, dude, I'm sorry, man. I would much rather had you kill. And he could have killed his turkey 10 seconds before I was holding him off.
Doubles are tough, man. Doubling's tough.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do.
So yeah, we got that done. And then we tried to get him a bird. We went down to that valley again. Wasn't nothing there. So like, well, let me go. So we walk in. There's like this old truck. I'm like,
yeah.
When we double, and this is just walking in that night or that morning.
That's the photo spot.
Like, when we double, we're gonna take our picture right by this truck.
Same thing me and you did.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
dude, that church is awesome.
Okay, so
if we kill, we're going to that church.
And I told him, I was like, oh, I may have just jinxed us because me and Cody had a church that we were gonna do that. And we didn't kill a turkey one, so I may have just jinxed us. But so we sat there for a while. We go down low. Couldn't get anything struck up. They weren't really gobbling that day, and So I said, well, let's go take our pictures. I'm going to take a couple shots of me right here, and then we'll come up with a game plan. And I'm carrying the bird, and I get about halfway to the truck, which is only about 60 yards, and one hits behind us. So we take off after it again. Same thing. It's on the other side of the creek. We go all the way around. It shuts up. Can't find it. So we take some pictures, take the bird back. I cleaned it and got the turkey breast out of it, which we ate that last night, by the way. Very good.
Oh
A
yeah.
little bit of
You done handled it,
a little
huh?
bit of fried turkey breast, little turkey nuggets, some fried okra, and some mashed potatoes. So it was really good. Everybody loved it.
I bet.
And so I text the farmer about the other farm, and he goes, "Okay, call me before you get ready to go." So after I had cleaned everything out, which is funny, I'm literally out there cleaning this bird, and there's a storm moving in. It's like, well, this thing's supposed to pass by about 9:30, 10 o'clock. After it passes, those birds are going to be in open field. So
Right.
let me get this thing cleaned up, and we'll see what happens. And I'm out there cleaning the turkey, and there's like some bean fields and some little wooded edges, and it thunders in the background. And a bird hammers like 80 yards from it's not his property, but it's like, oh, every time that thunder, oh, a bird would hammer. I'm like, dude, come listen to this. And so I call the farmer. He kind of tells me, he's like, hey, they normally roost here. Sometimes they roost here. There's a big, long cornfield. I mean, this thing's it kind of wraps around kind of like at an angle, but it takes up the whole entire property. I mean, this thing's probably 2,000 yards long. I mean,
Wow.
It just goes and goes and goes and goes, and then there's a road right at the end of it. So we park and walk all the way in, and we get to the first field, and it kind of makes a right-hand turn the whole way, so we're kind of creeping out, glassing, and then sure enough, boom, 3 hens, 3 toms are all full strut about 200 yards away. So we creep till we get to the sharpest corner, and I can't really go out to throw out a decoy because we'll get busted. So I get him set up, and then I get back a little ways, and I start calling. And I'm still on the binos, and I said, they're coming. There's 2 birds that are coming. One's with the hen. 2 of them are coming. And they get even with us across the field, which is probably 90 or 100 yards. And I'll do a little calling, and they get in the half strut and come down. They're just eyeballing us. And so there's super thick and a ridge behind us. So they just knew something wasn't right.
Wasn't nothing they could see.
They didn't run away. They just kind of started feeding back up there to where they were. So I was like, all right, well, let's scoot up again. Let's see if we can scoot up some more. And we ended up putting that fan on his gun. And I was like, hey, we might as well try. We got nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
So we get the fan on there. We start walking, and the bird is acknowledging that we're headed to him, but he's not running away. He's not really running at us like we're another Tom, but he's not running away. He's like, dude, I think we can pull this off. So we're closing the distance. And an old white Ford truck drives down the gravel road, and those birds get out.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So
Jeez.
well, there's that.
Dang it.
Yeah. So that was day 2 of a wrap. So day 3, like, man, I don't know which farm we should go to. You know, it's like that one hunts really hard because to get to the fields, you've got to walk down the ridge. And like, we're probably going to blow 3 birds off this.
Yeah.
So we choose the first farm again, and we get on another quiet morning. We have to go back down to the other side, but this time he's on top. So we have to go across the creek, go down, climb this 300 yard straight up and down hill, and we're chasing him. And we get to a drop off, and we can't really circle around because it's like we'll just make too much noise. We're about 50 yards from him. And so that bird never really played out. I mean, we chased him for, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles around there, and he never would stop. So I think he was just with a hen in my mind. But he would answer every time, but he wouldn't. He
wasn't coming, huh?
Yeah, he wasn't coming. So we went to the other farm. Same thing, go in the same way. Boom, two strutters in the field as soon as we get there at 8:30, 9 o'clock. And this time they're in a little cove, and I can see them. So I get to crawl out, and I stick out a Jake and a hen decoy, and we get back in the woods and set up. And I called to them a couple times. I mean, they're coming. And they never gobbled, never made a noise, but they were easing. They were feeding toward us. And when we got there, they were feeding the other direction. So I know they're coming to us, right?
Right.
So I kind of get behind a tree, and I'm laid down all the way, and he can see then at that point. And he's like, hey, they're going the other direction. I'm like, really? So I kind of ease out behind, and they're just kind of feeding away. And so I call again to them softly, and they raise their head up and stare. And we're covered up good. I mean, we're not getting busted. We can get busted one time, except for when those birds come across the creek up there.
Mm-hmm.
They just seemed kind of disinterested. It was weird. So I don't know if there's a hen in the woods or
Just couldn't get them to
what
commit.
happened, but they would not come in. Maybe they were too smart, or maybe there really wasn't a whole lot of pressure. There was one set of tracks in there, but
Well, that guy had told you that there wasn't a whole lot of pressure on his places,
no,
right?
and he told me he only lets 2 groups hunt. He's got 4 farms total of about 1,000 acres, and he lets a group hunt. 2 groups hunt this one, and 2 groups hunt this one. So
And that's it.
and that's it. And that's why he cuts it off at that. So, I went ahead and just rebooked with him when
I was going to ask you. Yeah. So
let me get on that again.
let me lock that in.
So, rather the boys in Ukraine or whatever he's doing, I don't know where he'll be. But if not, you gotta pile up and come with me.
Okay. Well,
there's
I'll definitely do my best.
Yeah,
to tag along.
It's about another hour past where we were at, and it seemed like forever, but it was late at night. But
So what? So do you plan to? Does the guy have access to 1,000 acres? You said total?
yeah,
Oh wow!
so he's got his own personal farms too, but he doesn't.
But this is just for the hunting.
This is the farms that he takes care of. So he takes care of them for the people, and they come and hunt it for deer season.
Wow!
And he gets a portion of the lease. Is the way I understood it when he leases it out for turkey. So,
Sweet. Oh man, you hunted your tail off, brother.
yeah, I know.
This was a heck of a season, man. It was like got our butts whipped in Arkansas. And it's like,
yeah,
let's go up north, and then we get our butts whipped up north.
Yeah.
And you go up north again.
Yeah.
And you finally get it done, man. Congrats.
Around.
And then you stuck it out. I told you that. I seen that picture. I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah, man, I tell you, we talked about it the last time. It's like, I love turkey hunting. And you've known me long enough to know that if I can't get it done here,
I'm going to find a way.
It's almost like it's sad, but it kind of turns into an anger hunt a little bit. Like, gosh dang, I'm going up there and I'm killing a turkey. You get mad at him, you know what I mean? It's like this one, I calmed down by the time I got there because it's me and the boy. We hadn't done it in a while.
Sure.
Like I said, I would have much rather him kill a turkey than me, and it still haunts me that I called him off until we could double.
Right.
But he was like, Dad, I got no regrets. I had such a great time up here. And
Do you know how many times I've done that to my son?
yeah, yeah.
And mine was always, wait, he's not in the frame yet. He's not in the frame. Wait.
Yeah.
And then something would happen.
Yeah.
Dude, I did that 3 or 4 times.
Well, I replayed it over my head 1,000 times, because I did feel bad because it's like, man, that was his second week in Missouri too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm pretty good, and he's a good duck hunter, so he's a pretty good shot too. But in hindsight, I wish I'd have had him just go ahead and take your bird. It's kind of like what I told him. Is that, man, me and Cody and Joe did this with coyotes, and we're trying to do a triple, and it's like we end up with nothing. It's like I learned that lesson. We just take what you can get, and I should have let you kill your bird. Then I would have just went ahead and stood up and tried to get mine on the run, and that way, you got one for sure, and I may could have pulled the shot off, and
Right.
even when mine, when everything kind of went down, and that deer came out there, his bird spooked, and then my bird spooked, and I had to, kind of stand up, and it was just, I could just barely see his head. Because it's a 4-wheeler trail is basically what we're set on that they access another food plot with, and it's like a super sharp drop off. I mean, I could just barely see the top of his head when I dumped, and that bird flew across the ground. I was like, gosh, I missed, and he missed. He took another shot of his, and then all of a sudden mine kind of started tumbling, and then it flew over to the neighbor's, and just right across the fence, But I wasn't sure I killed it either because I was, it kind of. It all happened so fast, that as soon as I saw his bird's head pop up at that deer, I didn't know it was a deer at the time until after everything all broke loose there. But I just said, take him. And as soon as I said, take him, I saw, a turkey head in my sight. Boom, I shot. Boom, he shot. And then his bird was kind of already in flight. But, even the last day, it's like those 2 birds were disinterested. Then we got on another one that was in full strut out there, and it just kind of went off in the woods with hens, and we sat there till, I don't know, it was probably 11 o'clock, I guess, just hoping maybe one just kind of pop back out, but it never happened. So, we kind of called it a day at that point and called it a trip, but it was a blast.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, you and your son, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
you know, like you said, even if you wouldn't have killed, it would have been epic. You know, that's
no, it was good to get away with him for sure. Well needed. I mean, especially with all that's going on in his life, he's, you know, maybe fixing to be gone for 2 years or 20 years. I don't know.
That's crazy, man.
I don't know what's going on now. So it's like, you know, it's good to have that, you know.
Sure.
Who knows what the future brings.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah. I've got a son that's 2 years moved out.
Yeah.
It's like he come over the other day and I had to introduce myself.
Yeah.
I didn't know it'd been that long.
Yeah. Well, mine came by the shop today and I still have it running there. Hey, run this weed eater over here and do this and do that. And it's like, I don't know. We had a good time. I mean, and, you know, it was nice to get one down. Like I said, in any other circumstance, I would much rather had him come home with the bird and you know, me video it. But
sure.
This happened so fast that morning, I actually left the video camera back at the deal. And
I was going to ask, where's all my footage, brother?
I know. I blew it on. I did carry it in with me every single day.
Dude, it's tough. I get it.
I kind of had your little setup. I had that net that I'd made and had it on my tripod. And everything was kind of set up nice and neat. And we were ready to go, man. I took it with us even on some of those longer treks. I was like, I took it with us. But that particular morning, it was like,
we got to make a decision.
We got to get there quickly because you know how the light gets up, and I want to get there before they roost. And I thought I knew where they were because we were in there yesterday, and they were actually probably 50 yards closer than what I thought they were. And it was just I did a terrible job with that. And I warned you that ahead of time.
What was it? 5 minutes earlier because you were further north.
Yeah.
Was it
probably? Yeah, it was. And
crazy.
We got there that second morning. The first morning we got there plenty dark because I didn't know where the birds were roosted, and we kind of went all the way down the low side of the property and popped up because I didn't want to bust anything. I didn't know where they were at, you know. And there was one bird in there, but he was pretty far back in the woods. And that wasn't even our property. When you walk in against the wood line, it wasn't something we could hunt. So, but yeah, man, this guy, he's a good dude, man. He took good care of us. Told us, you know, here's kind of what I think they are. Here's where I think they're going to be. And, you know, in Arkansas, the way the birds hunt, it's like, and I kind of noticed it we were hunting up there in Bethany on public too. It's like, normally the birds kind of stay in one spot. Like you can go back next year and you'll have birds roosting in the same spot. Well, here, it wasn't that way. They were roosted on this ridge, and the next day they would be like across the road on the neighbor's ridge. It's like they bounce around a lot. You know, we kind of saw that when you and I went up. It's like,
and see, I wondered if it was because there was so much vast openness.
Yeah, maybe.
And you know, you get just fingers of woods, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, the track we were on had the biggest chunk of woods on it, and it's like, well, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, easy money.
But then, like, the last day, they're not even there.
Yeah.
And so it was like, what's going on?
Yeah, that's kind of the way it was there. It was pretty weird that first morning. It was like, man, there's birds everywhere. And the second morning, there was 2 birds, and we shot at both of them. And that was it. And that was it.
Yeah.
And then we go to the other property, and it's like, man, this rain clears out. There's going to be birds in that field. Boom, there's birds in the field. But they were fairly unresponsive. I mean, they would kind of might kind of come your way a little bit, but it was that property.
Well, you think it's later in the breeding season kind of thing? Or?
I don't know. You know, the birds that me and him hunted, I mean, man, it was like, you know, they would cut me off when I was like trying to fly down, making the fly down sound. They were on fire. And then the morning before that, we had one that was that way. It's like, in hindsight, we should have went and got that bird, but we were kind of in the middle of 4. So like, let's just stay in the middle. You know, they're answering me, so they'll probably come here eventually. But
yeah, for sure.
A bunch of hens up there, so I mean,
they got plenty to do.
Well, even that morning when I was messing around with those birds, it's like, dude, I haven't heard one single hen fly down. I think we're in the chips right here, and all of a sudden you hear 2 hens fly down. Yip, 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 yip. I'm like, gosh dang it!
Here we go.
Well, they're gonna cut us right off. But I mean, I tell you, I'm not for sure. And I'm new to this thing. So Cook's the one that kind of told me about it. And I've seen people do it before, but when I did that little, I was cutting them off every time they gobble. I'd cut them off with my little Jake call. Dude, they V-line right to us.
Just ticked them off, huh?
So I mean, the thing about it is, it's like, you know, I've never proclaimed to be a great turkey hunter. I've killed some birds in my time, and I'll usually come up with some way to get it done.
Right,
but when you're up there, you learn a lot because you're surrounded by turkeys. And and it's like, man, in hindsight, I wish we would have just got down the creek and went around the other side on that big field. And like, you have all these thoughts that it's going to make me better next year.
Sure.
Because we're hunting big woods, right? We're not used to hunting these open fields and all that
it's
stuff.
different.
It's like,
it's really different.
So you learn a lot. I learned a lot up there. he learned a lot up there, about, calling, and, he was, it's always nice to, even if your boy's 18, to still be able to impress him with your turkey calling skills.
Well, he said he was going to outcall you. So did that not happen?
No, he didn't. No, he left those duties up to me, and I was like, cause I was putting it on him. What do you think we should do? I don't know. You've done way more turkey hunting than I have. What do you want to do? Like, well, I mean, this is kind of one of those moments where we can get super aggressive and maybe blow it, or
we
can wait them out. Like, what do you want to do? So,
yeah.
You know how I am. It's like, let's go get them. Like, I'll go get underneath them, go get around them, go get in front of them, whatever. So that's kind of the way we did it. But yeah, man, like I said, next year, I've already got him lined out for, I'm going back up there for the last weekend. He said, because I was wanting to go up early. He said, man, you booked up for early season. He's like, I can fit you in. He's like, but I can tell you, the guys that were here early season this year, they were here for 4 days, and they hunted once because the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour.
Weather was bad.
Snow. And so he's like, if I was you, I would pick this weekend. He's like, when I take my girl out, I normally we just go the last weekend
later
because it's just always nicer. And it was, even when you and I were up there, we had some, 29 wind chill stuff. When him and I were up there, it got down to the 40s. Like, you needed a jacket on, but like that last day, it was like 81, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, if it works out, you guys get to go.
Yeah.
I may just ride along and film.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I would love it.
Yeah.
That's, how I am about the filming thing.
The storage building has 4 beds.
Well, hey, I'm not above a storage building, buddy.
One of them's tucked back into like a little bedroom area. The other one's in the living room, and then there's 2 little loft areas up there.
Nice. Hey, when I moved out at 18, I moved into a storage building.
There you go. Yeah. So I told my wife, I said, hey, why don't you take off work and go up there with us? And I was like, we'll be done by 1, man. We'll find something to do in town, or we'll stay in this little cabin. And I got there, and it was like, there's not even a bathroom door.
No.
It's just a shower curtain for the bathroom door. It's like, she would have flipped out.
She wouldn't like that, huh? She'd be like, take me to town. Come get me when you're done.
Let's go get a hotel room. Now, she's pretty resilient, but no bathroom door. No, that's not
That's a no-go.
And the water pressure was about like a, small little water hose.
Yeah.
And, gosh, yeah, it was, it wasn't as nice as our place, but it was about the same amount of drive. We probably drove about 20 minutes to the first. Yeah, probably about 20 minutes both ways. From
so it was fairly close then.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Now we got on that first property. I opened up the gate that morning. There's a brand new like barn dominium sitting right by the gate. So I get back and I call the guy. I was like, hey, what's up with that thing? I was like, why can't we just stay there? Like, that's where I want to stay.
Yeah.
He's like, oh no, that's the owner of the farm. He had that built there, so when he comes up and hunts,
he's got a
nice place. Like, must be nice to have a 500 acre farm with turkeys and clover plots and bucks and a barn dominium.
Well, you need to get to work on that.
Yeah, I know, right?
You need to hook that up for us.
You need to make a commitment here. Like, what do I need to do?
Sign me up.
What do I need to do? I maybe start buying lotto tickets or something.
Well, I thought about y'all, but while y'all were gone, because it got like rainforest weather here. We were middle 80s. It had rained, and it's like you can feel stuff growing.
Yeah,
it's that kind of weather. It's like, so I've been out like almost every day checking my plot screen that I planted, checking my switchgrass. My clovers come in.
You sent me that picture last time. Like,
I was just like,
one of the best clover plots I've ever seen.
I was like,
we didn't even plant clover.
I didn't even plan for that. So here it's been growing season, man.
Yeah,
and that's exciting to me because we're either too cold, or for the last month it's been like really cold for mornings.
I know. Yeah.
So now we hit the 80s, man, and it's like I think my switch has grown a foot in 2 days.
Yeah,
nice. I mean it's just fun to watch right now.
Even some of them, I was brush hogging a bunch last night. I sent you that picture. I hadn't been in those little kill plots, and the rye is like neck high. So I'm like, and I've been mowing my little strips where I planted the new switch. I've been mowing those little strips, but I hadn't been doing anything
messing with
else.
The main plot.
I hadn't. Gosh, so this will be the 2.5, close to 3 weeks since I've been out there. And I was like, holy crap, I got to get the brush hog. And I didn't get done. It got dark on me last night before I got it all done. So I got to finish that up. But I got it all kind of knocked down. But the old food plot where we did the red osier deal, it's covered. And I told you I planted it kind of light because I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do with it. But it's that way. It's got some that are probably 6, 8 inches tall shoots out there. And I mean, and the,
Nice.
simazine, that whole thing, and the weeds that are there, it's like I don't know what it is, but it's like a little 3-leaf thing, and it's super, super low to the ground. So I'm like,
Shouldn't mess with it.
this may be all right. And I mean, I'm at probably 80% right now on my red osier. Like every one of them is like popping. Even some of the ones that weren't popping before.
Really?
Last night they're leafing out now. So
Nice,
I think
man.
I almost got every single one of these things growing
Sweet.
out here. So and I mowed my switch Monday. Some of the areas.
Some of the new stuff or
Some of the new stuff, yeah,
Just
because it
competing
had
with grass?
Well, it wasn't even grass, man. I simazined all the stuff, but it's the rye.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I just gotta keep knocking it down. I'm thinking like every time it's like, oh, this mowing should get it, but we keep getting rain and it just keeps growing. And
Popping
I
right
think
back
it
up.
grows like 6 inches a day.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
it's fast for
So
sure.
I mowed that. I mowed that on Monday and then brush hogged last night. Not all of it, but I got most of it done. And yeah, fruit trees are going. So
It's that time of year. I tell you what we'll do, man, is we'll get together and I'll put a Camel Family Outdoors video
Yeah.
together showing an update kind of both of our places.
Yeah.
Because I'm all excited because I planted a plot screen a couple weeks ago.
yeah,
And guys, if you're thinking about a plot screen, you got time because we're in the South right here.
Yeah.
And, I would get it planted in the next week or so.
yeah.
Because,
Now is probably the perfect time.
yeah, because it can get a little warm here pretty quick. But
So
yeah.
what you got a video on Camel Family
Yeah.
Outdoors that you put out. Tell me exactly what you planted out there this year.
Okay, so yeah, I did the Egyptian wheat. It's kind of Egyptian wheat sorghum mix.
Okay. A blend.
And, yeah, it's a blend.
Okay.
And that's what I've planted in the past. That's the one we've talked about so many times.
Okay, I thought you did straight Egyptian wheat most of the time.
No, well, I thought it was.
Oh, okay.
Until I read the contents on the
gotcha.
bag, and they actually mix in some sorghum in
Okay,
it. Now, I don't think it's a lot,
Not as much. Yeah.
but I didn't even realize it was in there
Yeah.
because the Egyptian wheat pretty much takes over. There
gotcha.
may be a little bit of sorghum in there, but
Yeah.
but anyway, so it is a blend. But yeah, so I got it all prepped down there. Went down, sprayed it all 2/3 the way around that new plot that we put in
Yeah.
where the new deer stand is.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll throw a link up if anybody wants to watch that video on Camel Family
Yeah,
Outdoors.
for sure.
I'll have a link in the description. I just went step by step.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but for me, especially when it was something new to me, if I can find a YouTube video to watch,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
dude, that's gangbusters.
Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking in making it. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to show every little step that I do,
Yeah.
and hopefully it helps somebody
Yeah.
that's thinking the same thing. But I'm telling you, and I know I've preached to you like a lot on it, but
Yeah.
if you can screen it off,
Oh yeah.
man, changes everything.
Oh, I guarantee you.
I was such a food plot guy for so many years.
Yeah.
And I was a big clover guy, like we've talked about.
Right.
And it's like, I get tons of bucks at night, tons and tons and tons of bucks at night. And it's like, first light, maybe a little bit, dark, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
And I planted a plot screen and it was like daylight.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man.
I remember the conversation years ago. when
Just
you told
freaked me
what you were
out.
doing.
I mean, I couldn't believe it. And then I thought, well, this is a fluke. Year one, this is a fluke. Turned into the next year, same thing. And so I was like, okay, just that security that plot screen gives you. And Switch will do the same thing.
Yeah.
Switch just takes
Patience.
2 or 3 years to get there.
Yeah.
Plot screen is an annual,
Yeah.
comes up,
Boom. Yeah.
it's over. It's going to die in like October, something like that, once
Yeah.
the cold really kind of hits it.
Yeah.
But it stays standing for the most part, as long as you don't get some really strong winds. But fairly easy to plant. There's nothing really too big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not nothing difficult. It probably does require some tilling or disking of some kind.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's probably the hardest part about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't really have to do much with the soil. It's a very tolerant plant. Now, we've learned, mine and yours last year, well-drained soils is needed.
Yeah.
I lost a lot last year because water would stand and not even stand if it was just level and it held water for a little while.
Even a little low spot. Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't do well. But I went out on mine. I planted 3 different spots, that new plot, and then of course my original plot. And man, they're all popping, and it's like exciting
No,
because
anytime you're growing something. I mean,
yeah,
last year was my first year to mess with screening
Yeah.
at all. And
Yeah.
just like I told you, it's like the old food plot I had, I didn't have any screen around it because I just want, I want more food, more food, more food.
Right.
It was, it's only it's probably under a half an acre, but you would see bucks stand 40, I say 40, probably 25 yards off the food plot line and give you no bow shot at all.
Exactly.
Because they can see into it.
Exactly.
And so we planted it on my place last year and your place, and it was straight sorghum. We both decided to try straight sorghum.
Right.
And right after we planted, we got a huge downpour, which
8 inches of rain.
yeah, kind of crop failure on a lot of that because we decided I think it's just too wet and it also buried the seed. But
Yep.
on the very far end of my food plot, it came up really, really
Yes,
thick
it did.
and really, really tall. And during muzzleloader season, all those bucks, they had to come into the food plot. They would come in that bottom section off the high line.
Yep.
And they would push their way through that sorghum thicket and pick their head out there, and it's like, that's an opportunity that you don't get if they can step back and just look into a food plot, especially a larger one of that size. Not to mention the security it adds. So
Yep.
I've since chopped all mine up and I'm going straight switch. But,
Yeah. You decided to go switch. You're going to put in the time, and the thing about the switch, man, is once you establish that switch, it's like a 10, 20 year deal.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You're set, and it out competes just about everything. Yeah. So,
it's kind of a confusing grass too. I'm not going to lie.
It's a little tough. It's a little tough.
Well, the thing about it is for me, it's like, well, we went out, we were going to shoot a CFO deal on, hey, I'm going to reseed this thing because I'd frost seeded some of it. And it's like, man, I don't know. It didn't really get cold and hot like I thought it would. It didn't have a whole lot of rain. So I'm going to hit it again.
Yeah.
And we go out there and it's like, oh, there's switch everywhere.
Yeah. It was popping hard.
And then some of the stuff last year that didn't come up, I guess what we decided was the hard seed is now 9 inches tall, where I thought I didn't have any switchgrass. So
nice.
It's like,
so that whole top sides, is it starting to fill in really good?
And you talked about it on your place. It's like, I don't think any switch came up and you mowed it all down. Next thing you know, now you got switch. It's like, so it's kind of confusing me a little bit. Like,
it's a little tough.
I don't think you can really kill it.
Yeah.
Unless you sprayed it. I mean, chemically, I guess, but it's like, I had some bald spots last year from where we were moving in the deer mansion. I drove in and out of there and chilling and all that stuff. And it's like, it never really came up. And now this year it's popping.
So it's like the seed was already in there and just,
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little different, but I know that here, I thought I had failed because I didn't do my research, and I planted it in the spring, and that seed wasn't ready. It was hard seed, and so the whole season went by before it actually popped.
Yeah,
and it's doing really well, man. I mean, I kid you not, it's jumping like half a foot a day, so it's really moving. But my recommendations is, and I'm if you've listened to us at all, if you can screen off a plot, it's a game changer, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's so awesome because I can just show you footage after footage after footage of daylight buck activity.
Oh, yeah.
And I really feel like, in one year I didn't have a screening.
Yeah.
And my activity dropped by half.
Yeah, you kind of had that problem last year too, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like some of the plot screens you had out here on your original plot were impressive. I mean,
oh yeah,
14 feet
walls
tall.
Yeah.
It's like impenetrable, and you can definitely tell the daylight movement was exponentially.
It was great.
More, yeah.
And that was the cool thing for me too is not only is it really good for early season, when bucks are in the feeding pattern,
right,
dude. When you get into the rut, they'll like work the field like later in the morning.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because they feel like they're secure.
They're all blocked off.
Yeah. So anybody's thinking about it, I would recommend it. Right now in Arkansas, where we are, we're middle of the state, kind of western, I guess.
Now's the time to
get it
in there for sure.
Yeah.
Something I was talking about that spot there by my little, I call it the house plot. It's an impenetrable.
Yeah, that's a picture you sent me of it, like 6 feet tall or whatever.
Yeah. So I've got switch coming up in there. I sent you that stuff we put last year, and it's probably 18 inches tall right now.
Yep.
And it's kind of shaded. So I'm like, man, I want to come up here. So I keep it mowed and I look at it. And it's like, I mean, I do have a lot popping in there. They're only probably like 2 or 3 inches tall.
Right.
So I'm still fingers crossing on that spot. And then I was telling you about that. I was like, man, I'm thinking about like around here. It's like, we call it creek cane. It's almost like bamboo,
Yeah.
I'm almost thinking about trying to figure out how to plant that stuff in there. If I can keep it trimmed down where I can shoot an arrow over the top of it, you know what I mean? 'Cause I got to do something because
an arrow through
this
there.
plot should be, and I sent you those pictures last night. They're bedding in that plot right now.
Yeah, I seen that.
So it's not, because it's pretty close to my house, but you can't get busted in it. And it's like, I think it'd be a really cool.
Well, you know, we've played
spot.
that. We've played that scenario even here.
Oh, yeah,
You'd be
yeah.
shocked at the buck activity right by your house.
Yeah.
You know, that year Christy shot that big one we called Stickers, he was
Yeah.
bedding like 75 yards from my house on this ridge.
Yeah.
You know, nobody went in there,
Yep.
but the house was right here.
Yeah,
You think there's no way a mature deer is going to do that.
Busting him out of there.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like whenever, I guess, was it right after we did the stuff and I was driving you around my place, and it's like right up on the hill, 30 yards from the swimming pool, there's like does bedded down right there. I'm like, what are they doing?
They moved in.
Yeah. Like, what's going on? Is watching us swim out here? What's the problem? But, and you know, the same thing with the bucks. Like, you always wonder, you know, like on my scenario and your scenario, it's like how close they really are, because some, you know, I believe they're not bedding the same spot every time on my place, because sometimes you get those weird times, like, what is this thing doing at this time? He must be pretty close. You know, we talk about it. We're texting back and forth all the time.
Yeah,
And then
strategizing.
I was reading an article the other day. I don't know. You tell me what your thoughts on this. It kind of made sense to me in the big picture. If you do bust a buck out of his bed, most people think that's the worst thing ever, right? This guy had an analogy that said, if you bust a buck out of his bedroom and he gets out alive, he thinks that's a really good bedroom because he got out without, you know, getting injured or getting killed. And it's like he'll circle back around to that thing in like 3 days. And this is just some guy I was reading online. So it kind of makes sense because
I think that would maybe, and this is just me talking.
Yeah, no,
I may be wrong.
Yeah,
but it depends on the type of bump.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
if it's a full wheeler bump, if it's a car bump, dude. I mean, even here, we'll bump a shooter like, oh, I seen him. You know, he took off. And like, he's out that evening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but if you're like in there stomping around and you stink, I could see that like ending the game.
He's gone. Yeah. I don't know. There's so many topics. I mean, like I said, we now I've got a turkey beard on my counter. I'm kind of back on the deer mode again. I was at it with the turkey thing for a while.
Yeah,
so
you're done.
I'm back on deer
flip.
mode.
It's time to flip.
I got one. I needed to get that, man. I needed to see one flop, me or you or the boy or
something.
I needed to get that behind me.
I'm glad you did, man. Congrats on that. I mean, like I said, you stuck it out. You stuck it out.
Oh man, I told the wife, I was like, I was keeping up with my miles in Arkansas. I think I was up to like 22 or 27 or something.
Nice.
I think we did 4 a day.
Yeah.
Me and the boy, we did 2 4s and a 7. I think me and you did.
Yeah.
And then me and the boy, we did, I think 5 7 and 5 7 and 5. I think is what we ended up with up there. So I don't know how many miles it took to.
Well, you kind of added up the money, and that's something you should never do.
Yeah, that was I put that on. I made a post about that last night.
Yeah,
and that's not even accurate by the time you
figure
about
everything,
the food and paying the farmer and everything
else. And you didn't have the field trip in there either.
Yeah. It was way more than that.
Yeah,
so,
right.
How do you like this? $2,000 turkey nugget dinner.
Take a slow bite because it's good.
Which we had some of tonight too. We had some leftovers again, so we got 2 meals out of it.
Hey, that's worth it, man.
$700 a meal. That ain't too bad. Feeding 4 people, come on.
As long as it tastes good, man. So coming up for me too, man. It's kind of exciting. I've got the part for the dozer. And so,
you told me that yesterday.
Yeah, so I'm fixing to hopefully fix the dozer, and then, man, I'm ready.
We'll be doing a how to build a pond video.
Yeah, it's going to be do it yourself, but Dad's kind of done it, brother's kind of done it. You know, got the transit, got everything we need. So that's going to be coming up.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get the gang crew over to my house in a couple of years and knock me one out too.
Yeah, I tell you, man, get that dozer running good. We need to just make that happen.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
If I dig my own, I'll be good enough by then. I'll dig yours.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, mine's kind of set in a valley, so I mean, where I want to do mine, it shouldn't. I mean, you can almost take the dirt right behind where the pool ends and just start shoving it back. In my mind, anyway. I'm not
dig a hole.
I'm not a dozer operator.
Just
but,
dig a hole.
Cook told me I could rent his from him too, so we can double doze it if we have to.
Yeah. This one I got's not the finishing dozer. It's like it's a pusher.
Oh yeah, I'd watch you run that out there on that food plot. That thing is you can
tear up some more.
You could push over some 200-year-old oak trees and not even know it. That thing's a beast for sure.
Hopefully that thing's good. Well, man, awesome. Glad I'm so glad you finally got it done on the turkey side. You
Yeah.
did not give up. Hats
No.
off to you, man. Glad you got to go with the boy. That's always
Yeah,
huge.
that's really good. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
time you'll cherish. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Oh yeah. That's what I told him. I was like, man. So that bird, when that crow went off, that bird gobbled at us at 12 yards away. And if you've ever had one gobble that close, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a vibration.
You can feel it in your chest.
It's a thumping that when they gobble too. And he kind of looked at me, it's like, so after it's all said and done, I was like, man, I hope you never forget that sound.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
Yeah, no doubt.
we've had that one. I tell the story when he was like 6 or 7, spitting and drumming. We could reach out and touch it, but like hearing that gobble and that tough to explain.
Yeah, you
But
got to live it.
Anybody
right?
that's been there knows what
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
sure.
But it's a gobble with a vibration, like a big thumping noise inside there, and it's like, holy crap!
He's on top of
It's
us.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. That's today's the hunt experience.
Hunt experience. Another one down. What episode was that?
10 or 11.
10 or 11.
We're
Let's
rolling.
roll. Yeah.
We're rolling, bro.
I'm knocking them out. So
It's just too much fun. I don't even know why.
it is a lot of fun. I hope people are enjoying it. We enjoy doing it.
Yep, for sure.
We're to kind of just when we came up with this concept, we're going to throw some tips out there. We're not experts. We're not how-to guys, and we're going to just basically talk.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
trying to entertain people. Hopefully somebody are getting something out of it, and hopefully people like listening to us.
Well, and it's fun. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we have a blast.
I know they can hear the excitement in our voices.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because it's genuine.
Yeah,
We're having
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, for sure. I get excited whenever it's getting time to go. Or like when I watched ours from last night, I was like, man, I'm ready to do it again.
Let's go.
I got fun doing it. So it's awesome. So yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening today.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.